Elevate TV, advancing kingdom lifestyle.
Welcome to another episode of the GG Report. Good evening. I hope you're well. And this is an exciting day. I'm so glad that we're coming back to you on this wonderful evening. The GG Report, as I always tell you, is a platform for big, bold ideas, honest conversations. And today is going to be exciting. I have some special guests with me on the set. Two gentlemen from the United States of America. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Very good. I'm going to be introducing these guys today. And before I got into the subject, could you please share the links? We are live on Facebook page, Elevate TV Kenya. We are live on the YouTube link as well, Elevate TV Kenya. So please do share. And then if you're watching through this link, maybe you've gotten the link from someone else, please subscribe and also turn on the bell there to remind you so that every time we come live, you can get notified. So amazing. Today we're going to be talking about entrepreneurship and how to brand yourself. And we all know that the world needs entrepreneurs. We need more people that have this particular amazing gift called entrepreneurship. We're going to be talking about that. The other thing is we know that America is clearly the world leader in entrepreneurship, and that has a lot of implication. And so today we have the privilege of listening to two gentlemen that can tell us what it takes to be successful. What does it take to be a successful entrepreneur? That's the question we're going to be addressing ourselves to. All right, so sit back and maybe get your cup of coffee ready, and let's get on with this conversation. So before my guests speak, let me just introduce them to us, and then we can get going. My two guests are Billy Graham Jr., the gentleman right on my extreme right, and my friend here, Dr. Michael Freeland. Billy is an entrepreneur with multiple successful businesses, and he's also a development coach. And Billy served in the U.S. military Air Force, actually specifically over 20 years, and now he's focused on helping others fulfill their purpose in life. So he teaches you how to unlock the gift within you so that you can live the life you are destined for. And he's going to be telling us more about that. My friend here on my right here is Dr. Michael. He's an entrepreneur and a book author who has a global initiative to help develop your mental real off state of your mind. And that is a very interesting idea, and I'm going to be asking him to tell us more about what that means. And so you will learn from him wherever you interact with him about thought processes while gaining perspectives from your positive and negative mindset. So Billy has Dr. Michael has a very interesting background and what he brings on the table. So gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Very good. So let's dive into the conversation right away, and we'll start by you telling us about yourself, introducing yourself a little bit more, and we can start from my friend Billy. Let's start from there. Very briefly introduce yourself.
So I'm that individual that you come to when you're trying to figure out what your purpose is in life. What should you be doing?
Right.
You know you should be doing something bigger. You feel it, but you just don't know what it is, and you don't know how to unlock it.
Okay.
So I'm that individual that you come to help you unlock it. I call it a gift, that God-given gift that he is giving you to live in your purpose in the design that he created you for.
Dr. Michael.
Yes, sir.
Could you kindly introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Dr. Michael Freeland, all the way from Topeka, Kansas, from the United States. And, you know, one of the things that I do is to help people develop their mentalities and help them understand various perspectives of their thought process. So it's an amazing journey, but, you know, it's not something that just came about. I've had to live this life in order to be able to give this life. So it's a life of service, and more than glad to help others.
Very good. Excellent. Excellent. So, so today, as we have just introduced the subject matter and the area we want to focus on, we want to talk about entrepreneurship. So tell us about your entrepreneurship journey. And yeah, let's begin from there. So Billy, you're the one to start us off.
So I like how you said the journey. So my entrepreneurship journey, like, it's still a lifelong journey. It doesn't end. Like, you're always learning, you're always developing, you're always finding a new skill. But my entrepreneurship journey started with my clothing line. It's actually called Solo One Clothing.
Right.
The reason behind that clothing line was your journey.
Okay.
When you start, whenever you do anything, you're solo, you're by yourself. Like solopreneur, since we're talking about entrepreneur, when you're starting with entrepreneurship, most of the time it's your idea, something that you have in place. 9 times out of 10, most people don't even believe in your idea, which is fine.
Yes.
Because the vision was yours. It was given to you. They won't understand it. So that starter for me was that clothing line, because I wanted people to wear clothes that inspired them on their journey, whether it be their journey for entrepreneurship, journey through life, whatever it was. I wanted that to be their journey because they started it by themselves. They're going to go through it because at the end of the day, it's going to start and end with you. So when you end it, it ends.
All right.
So it was all about that. So my journey started with Solo One Clothing. So it's funny that you said your journey, because that's how we all start in entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And how is that doing in terms of, do you have an outlet? Do you sell online? Maybe you can throw a little bit more light on that.
So it is actually sold online, solo1clothing.com. It's one of those things. It's not just my journey, but the proceeds that are getting for that, because God has blessed me and my family with the ability to have other sources of income, because that's another part of entrepreneurship, of those multiple streams of income.
Yes.
So we have those certain incomes. So the proceeds that come from Solo One Clothing, we actually donate and use those proceeds to help others start their journey, to get them going in life, whether it be them starting an idea, or somebody that might be going through something along their journey, whether it be breast cancer awareness, domestic violence awareness, something that's taking them on the journey and they can use help to get to that next level. So Solo One Clothing is also mainly right now about helping others go through their journey or start their journey. So those proceeds actually go to help others.
Absolutely. Amazing. Amazing. All right. So let's come to Dr. Michael.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
The journey began at the young, ripe age. and my journey took a twist because I didn't expect to see how much it has grown. But one thing I can say is that when the vision is there, when you begin to walk within that vision, then you start to find different levels along the journey, because a lot of times people want to see it before they believe it.
Okay.
But it's the exact opposite. You actually have to believe something in order to begin to see something, because you develop the faith that this is actually possible. So when I started my business, I was a DJ. I started as a young boy with a group of guys, and I remember that they didn't really want me to touch any of the equipment because I was too young. But as I got older, I decided I wanted to do something for myself. And so I began to learn music, and I did so much with it. And the thing about it, as years went by and years went by, I realized something, that people really found ways to heal through music, because I know for a fact, because I was my first patient. So when I learned how to make the music count for me, I realized that music could do something for someone else. So I created a business in DJ Mike J Entertainment LLC from that. But not only that, it created something else from that.
Okay.
It created the information through the music and creating the experience, because my motto is it's not about the music, it's about the experience. And when I created the experience through music, people were beginning to become healed through the information that was illustrated through music. And so from there, then I noticed that there's a message tied to that. And it's not just about the music, it's about the experience, but the experience is also not the experiences of life, but the experiences in life. So as I began to walk through the experiences in life, I began to develop something that was special. I started to care more. I started to want to be involved more. And I didn't want to lose the music, but I wanted to see where else I could make a difference. Okay. And making a difference in that helped me to create Dr. Michael Freeland because of the not just being an entrepreneur, but the fact that I was able to write a book.
Okay.
And in this book, you know, it does so much in mental real estate. So I mean, this is where the journey begins, but it's not always where you begin.
All right.
It's where you
Okay.
finish.
Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I have two guys here. They are from the US, and one of them is an entrepreneur running a clothing line. The other one is a DJ. That sounds very much like Kenyan ideas, okay? So we want to learn as much as we can from these gentlemen, and hopefully I'll be able to ask them the right questions on your behalf. And so let's get on with a little bit more. So, okay, starting a clothing line is, there are a lot of people actually who think about that, okay? So what is it like? How do you make money out of a clothing line? Because there is a product there being sold. So you can elaborate a little bit on that.
So you have to think with a clothing line. One thing about a clothing line, we all have to have clothes. Nobody wants to run around naked.
Yes.
And for example,
so the need is there.
The need is there.
That's
the one thing about entrepreneurship. You have to supply something when there's a need. There's always a need for clothes. The clothing, like the t-shirt business, for example, many people think like, so many people are doing the t-shirt business. Somebody's always doing it. Mm-hmm. Well, the t-shirt business is a $7 billion a year business. And last time I checked, I don't need to get the whole 7 billion, but can I get a piece? Just a piece,
yes,
a small
piece of the 7 billion.
Because you start looking at it, 1% of the 7 billion, I'm good for life. Like,
wow.
So everybody has a need, and like you said, how do you do it? How do you create it?
Yes,
it's your idea. Mm-hmm. You can't go wrong. It's your vision. Me and you might have the exact same kind of idea, t-shirts, mm-hmm. but how you're going to express yourself and how I'm going to express myself is totally different. Mm-hmm. And 9 times out of 10, the people that are going to want the information that you're expressing, mm-hmm. they don't even know that they want it until you give it. Why? Mm-hmm. Because it's your vision and idea. Right. They don't have it. So when you think about different clothing lines, different sayings on shirt, different pictures on shirts, there's a reason people buy it.
Yes.
Because it touches and it piques interest within them. Mm-hmm. So if you're one of those that you put catchy sayings on the t-shirt, mm-hmm. that catchy saying is going to resonate with somebody. Mm-hmm. So all you have to do is take what you have inside of you and put it on the t-shirt. Now, how you go about doing that is many different ways. They have print on demand, where you basically load your designs up into a certain particular website. They put it on the shirt. When people go to your store online and buy it, you don't have to touch any merchandise. You don't see it. The print on demand shop, they print it, mail it, ship it to them, and you get your piece of the money and they get their piece of the money.
Right.
Then you have your ones where you can get a mass distribution. You can go find a different wholesale seller, give them your design. You pay so much money, which would be the wholesale price. Mm-hmm. They send all the products to you with your designs on them. And then you mail them out yourself, okay, and put your own label on it, on packaging, so that you're like more in touch with the customer because it's more of a personal experience. Mm-hmm. Or you might have a design, a t-shirt design or whatever, and you can go get with local stores, like whatever your local clothing store is or your brand store, and you go in there and talk with them. You take that same wholesale, and you go to them and you get to sell it to them for a certain price, and then they put it on the rack and they make their profit off of that. So it's multiple different ways for you to be able to distribute your clothing line. So there is no right or wrong, because remember, when you're doing entrepreneurship, it's not just about one source of income. Mm-hmm. When you become an entrepreneur, you have multiple sources of income. So the clothing brand isn't necessarily to just take care of all your family bills, needs, set up generational wealth. Yes. What it is bringing in a source of income. So you think about it, what if you're a design turns around and brings you $1,000 a month.
Right.
That's $1,000 a month that might take care of those bills. Then you get another one, and another one, and another one. Like that's how you free yourself, not just from the 9 to 5, but that's how you get your time back.
Absolutely.
So it all depends on how you want to do it, but it's multiple ways to start any type of business, to include a clothing line.
Absolutely. I think you've taken us through entrepreneurship 101. Very, very, very quickly. And I love what you're talking about. So you start with a product, and then so the concept. So this is a T-shirt. So
Yes.
people want T-shirts.
Yes.
And then so then you have to put the word out there. Of course, you develop the designs and all that.
Yes.
I think all of us can picture, how a T-shirt sort of, because we buy branded T-shirts. So you put the image on it, and you have different designs, and then the issue of how to distribute. And I like the way you've described the various options,
Yes.
where you have it's all online, and it's like the way you sell a book, print
Yes.
on demand. So somebody orders on the website, and then the guy who has the physical goods prints and distributes. And there are
Yes.
people who do that kind of like as you'd say that's what they do. They print from various
Yes.
different people. You sign up, you tell them this is my brand,
Yep.
blah blah blah, and the system goes.
Exactly.
The other option is where you go to a store chain, and then you persuade them, then they stock your T-shirts.
Yes.
The other one is where you just go and sell to various stores, or you run your own store, for
Yes.
example, if you want to do that, depending on how far you want to go with that.
Yes.
I love that. And the reason for whether you want to be in touch with the customers directly, or you want to use the other distribution chains.
Exactly.
Excellent. Good. So now you can imagine how that plays out for this guy, the DJ guy. So tell us, how do you make your money?
Well, this is so catchy because I love what you had to say. Is that the difference between the product sold and the product received as a DJ is
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Because you are the product.
Oh, absolutely.
And let me help some other DJs out there that are aspiring, because I see so many of them now. The generations have changed. There used to be so few of us, but now there's so many of us as DJs. But how do you become successful? Because I've been in this business over 30 years. Over 30 years I've been as a DJ.
Wow.
And I've been doing this, but I didn't get here on my own free will. What you need to do as a DJ, for one, you have to know what your character is.
Yes.
What your character is all about. Two, your personality speaks to the level of interest. Your personality speaks to the level of interest. And one of the other things I wanted to share is that when you're looking at being a DJ, you're not just selling a brand, you're selling who you are.
Yes.
People are attracted to the personality of the person.
Yes.
So and if they're attracted to the personality of the person, they're interested in what you have. So also, because I'll say this because sometimes as DJs, we make mistakes that when we're in an environment where people are paying us to give a level of service, that it becomes about who we are. And as a DJ, we must pay attention to who we're playing for, who the audience is. We must learn the audience, because your come up is in the show up.
Yes.
And if the come up is in the show up, you have to know that when you're dealing with other people, what is it about them that really piques your level of interest to engage them?
Exactly.
Because if you go in there with only your own personality, your own interests, and those are good, because if you know who you are, you know who you serve.
Yes, exactly.
And if I know who I am, I know who I can play for, and I know my level of ability, and I know my talent.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, and as you develop your talent, not only as a DJ, let's say it this way, it's not good enough to be talented enough as a DJ. You have to have resources. You have to have music. Not only do you have to have music, but you have to know your music. Because I hear DJs all the time that'll put together a lot of music, and they're probably pretty good.
Yes.
But if you don't put the right music in the right environment for the right people, you've lost the crowd.
Absolutely.
And if you lose the crowd, guess what you lose? The business. Because I've built this thing for 30 years, but it's not because I've been a DJ for 30 years. It's because the people allowed me to be a DJ for 30 years.
Absolutely.
Because not before 20 years went by and I never had a business card.
Okay.
20 years went by, I never had an advertisement, but you know what? The best part of being a DJ is word of mouth. Because I said before, to know who you are is to know who you serve. And if you know who you serve, people will speak to the character that they see.
Yes.
And if they speak to the character that they see, then guess what? Here comes the business. Because if you do good for me, I'm not only going to tell this person, hey, look, if you have something happening, I need you to think about this guy.
Yeah,
because he's good at what he does.
He's very good.
Yes. And that's the business, is that as a DJ, your product is who you are. And you and not only are you and the thing is, if you're good at what you do, if you know who you are and people will receive who you are, you don't have to sell yourself. Okay. They will sell it for you.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love that. So most of the time, especially for a DJ, you grow your your network through word of mouth.
Yes.
You do a good job. And then I like the other thing you mentioned. The idea that it is not just about your style,
right.
It is about knowing the people, your audience,
yes.
and understanding their needs. So
yes.
you show up as a DJ in different sort of forums,
yes.
and then you go to adjust your offering, your experience, whatever
yes.
you're going to play,
yes.
To fit that particular audience.
Right.
And then they are wonderful. This guy, he just gave us the best music. Oh man, that
yes.
was such an experience.
Yes.
And then the word goes, and then they are always looking for Michael.
Yes. But you said something that's real key. You said they love the music, and then you said he gives us an experience. And see, and my motto says it's not about the music, it's about the experience, because people will remember you for how you make them feel.
Exactly.
And see, and that's a part of building into business, is once people realize that you have given them something, because like I said, there's a lot of DJs out here, but one thing that I know is that you have to separate yourself from the pack if you want to be unique.
Right.
Uniqueness comes from being able to create something that people haven't necessarily seen or felt before. And so the music is a huge piece of it, but there's language in the music. And so that's why I said there's language in the music. So when you play that music or you play that song, because the music is your words through an instrument. And
absolutely.
Yes.
No, this guy is a DJ, so he can talk all the day.
Yes.
You normally add in your voice in the when you're spinning and mixing, you add your voice.
MC.
And
yes,
they
sir.
love your voice.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. This guy will dominate this conversation. Anyway, but I love this conversation. I hope you're learning. Some of you are DJs. Some of you are trying out, all kinds of ideas. I like the idea of T-shirt selling and branding, cloth line. It's an amazing idea. The question is, what's the role of the culture within the society where you're developing your business or where you're playing in the field, and how business, kind of your entrepreneurship, your enterprise grows. Let me call it the enterprise. Yes.
So the best way I can say it, because I know we're saying the culture, mm-hmm. but it's not about the culture. Mm-hmm. As DJ Mike, Dr. Freeland already said, it's not about the culture. It's about knowing who you are.
Right.
It's about knowing, because it all falls under you and to your branding. Because
Yes.
it's knowing who you are. It's knowing who your audience is, who the person that you're trying to get the product to. Mm-hmm. That's all the same thing. Like, so when you say culture, like, think about something like the bigger companies.
Yes.
Like Apple.
Mm-hmm.
Apple's no smaller in America than it is in Africa or Europe. Like, Apple is Apple.
Yes.
Because they know who they are,
mm-hmm.
and they know who their customer is. Obviously, Apple's not gonna market to Samsung customers.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So if I have a brand, whether it be music, whether it be art, whether it be clothing, no matter what your brand is, you first have to know who you are. Because the first thing that people buy when they look at a product is they buy the person, the brand.
Yes.
You see it all the time. McDonald's.
Yes.
McDonald's is not healthy at all if you look at the overall picture.
Yes.
But their branding. You think of McDonald's, those golden arches. You're buying the brand. You're buying the product. Their thing, you look at their sign, it says over so many billion sold.
Right.
You're buying the product, the brand. You're buying who they are.
Exactly.
Even though you probably can go home and make a cheeseburger better than the McDonald's cheeseburger.
Yes.
So it's all about knowing who you are,
Yes.
Right.
who you're marketing to, and that's how you build it, because you don't go and try to be something that you're not.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter what your brand is, what your culture is, what your business is. It doesn't matter what your entrepreneurship journey is. The whole part of it is knowing who you are, who your audience is, and how to let them know what your product is.
Absolutely. I love that. And I think you've really like taken the conversation to the next level, in the sense that you're saying, look, the reason why, say, for example, most of the American businesses have succeeded outside America is because they actually realize you work on the thing, the brand, and take it out there to the world. As long as there are people who can, they know they can make a very good burger, but there is these other guys down the streets who are making really great burgers and creating an experience.
Exactly.
So McDonald's, KFC, here in Nairobi we have KFC, so McDonald's hasn't arrived yet. But I think KFC is growing so fast here. I mean, so again, it's not even the culture. We don't have the American culture here, but we seem to have accepted that experience. So you are absolutely right. So ladies and gentlemen, as you follow this conversation, I think we say you too can develop your own brand. You can develop your own, a business. You can also develop your entrepreneurship idea and make it big. So maybe culture doesn't really matter. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're doing it here in Kenya. You can start a business here in Nairobi, Kenya, and take it to the Americans. As long as you know what you're doing, as long as the experience you're offering and the branding and the communication is right, they will buy you. If they think that guy, that African guy is a nice guy, they're going to buy you.
You just said something that I want my lovely Kenyans, my African culture to understand. Many individuals have not been around the world to other countries and something. It's somebody that I'm talking to right now that has never probably been to America.
Yes.
But guess what? Even though it might not be 100% authentic,
yes,
we got African culture in America. Like, we see the different gowns, the different headdresses, the different hairstyles, the different soaps and different fragrances that are coming from Africa. So somebody's getting it to America. It's getting there some type of way. So don't believe that what you have in that product and that brand that you have inside yourself, that you can't get it to America. Somebody already has gotten it there.
Yes.
You have to think outside of yourself, because it's bigger than what you think it is. Like I said about the t-shirt, $7 billion. There's some way the product is getting it to America. So how is it getting there? All you have to do is believe in who you are and know that you have an audience outside of Africa, and your product will get there.
Absolutely. Right. Okay. So as you can tell, this is going very, very fast and furious. We're learning a lot, and we're going to go into a short break. And when we come back, I think we're going to return to that conversation. Something you've opened up, Billy has opened up something very, very sweet. I really want to pursue after this. So don't go away. Just stay tuned. Take a small coffee break and come back quickly. We continue with this conversation.
Why is it that after 7 days of prayer and fasting, the glory of God would come upon you in such a manifest way?
We are moving from one place to another place, praying.
Yes.
Food, natural food was not important.
Let it be again.
But today we're moving from one restaurant to another, eating hamburgers, taking coffee and gossiping. Let's get out of there.
We know exactly where we fell, and we can rise up and go back.
Pay the price.
Amen.
Welcome back. This is the GG Report. Today we are having a very exciting conversation. We are talking about entrepreneurship and self-branding, how to brand yourself. And my guests here are absolutely amazing. They are talking about things that really excite me. I have an entrepreneurship bent. That's my specialty. And so everything I hear here, I'm taking it very, very serious. And I believe you too are enjoying this conversation. So before we went on a break, Billy, you opened up something very interesting. The idea that you have to believe in yourself, you have to believe that you have something to offer to the world. And if you can believe that, if you can package that, have that confidence, you can sell it in America, you can sell it here in Africa. And actually I can mention the fact that there are fabrics here and styles here that Americans will be interested in.
Yes, so those fabric and styles. So when we were here last time, I was back here in July, and we were shopping. And I saw some prints, and I'm like, I've seen these prints in America before, but something was clicking like, but I know those aren't as authentic as this. Yes. I want the real thing. And so I was like, my mom's gonna love this, my wife's gonna love this, like my kids are gonna love this. So I was just buying. And as I got back and I'm showing people, and they're like, it looks similar, but it was crazy. Like people can pick out the differences, like this isn't the same.
Yes.
And so just the other day we were riding because I want everybody to see how I can transition from America to Africa. Mm-hmm. So we were riding the other day and I heard a song and I was like, I heard this before. And DJ Mike was like, what are you talking about? Like, where you heard this music from? I was like, I remember being a boy in middle school.
Yes.
And I heard this music and I was like, what is this? This is different. It wasn't the music I grew up with.
Yes.
And that's when somebody was like, oh yeah, this is African music. I knew about this music before I even got to Africa. This is me as a little boy. And I'm like, this is crazy. And we were telling the person that was driving around us, our wonderful person, Eric, our best friend, he was driving. And I'm like, this is amazing. Like this crazy. I heard this song before. And then Eric was like, well, what about this? And he pressed the button and pressed play. And he played a song that was, I think, was it the 80s or 90s, late 80s, early 90s? I can't remember the name of the song. I'm gonna let Mike take that one, but it was late 80s, 90s. And we just started going because it was American music.
Right.
And it was music we grew up with. Mm-hmm. And now Eric, who's from Africa, was listening to it. And I was like, oh my God. And then DJ Mike, I'm gonna have to let him take it because he was like, Eric, don't get me started. I can go with the music. I'm not gonna steal the shine. You go ahead, because I just wanted people to know music clothes, whatever transitions from country to country, and Mike knows that best.
Yes. And to reiterate on that, it was amazing. We had a great time. But let me help you understand what the power of music can do.
Yes.
Music, I look at music as time capsules because the 70s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, these were all different eras and times and generational gaps.
Yes.
Where we knew that people from certain areas grew up around certain types of music. Mm-hmm. And so when a song comes on, I like to refer to music as time capsules.
All right.
Now, when I say time capsules, what do I mean? I'm talking about the fact that there's a song that you can actually hear that takes you where? To a time you remember. Right. And so when a song has that much power, and it's not just about the song, the rhythm, it's about what it conveys. It's about the song itself, the message in the music. Because if Marvin Gaye made a song that says what's going on, there was a song that was made back in the 1970s that had to deal with oppression.
Right.
Oppression of African American people. And so when you heard that song, if I could play that song today, when someone said what's going on, they knew exactly what that meant.
Yes.
And so that's what I mean, but because the music is so relevant, and I love the fact that music crosses the ocean, it crosses boundaries, it crosses nationalities, it crosses genders, because music is international. And when you can create an international brand through music, when I said it's not just about the music, it's about the experience. There are experiences that are tied to the music that helps people relate. And because, listen, I may not know you or I may not know you, but we can be in an audience with the same song playing and have the same feeling. Absolutely. From a different time. And so this is why music brings people together in ways people will just never understand.
Absolutely. Amazing. Amazing. And that's really very, very interesting, especially when we're thinking about entrepreneurs here in Africa, in this side of the world, whether it's a DJ in Nairobi, Kenya, or Africa in general. In other words, if you brand yourself properly, you know who you are, you develop your own, content and put together your I would say, the resources, the music. A DJ By the way, what exactly is the stock? Because I see like a DJ is one guy, is like one place where you find all these thousands and thousands of music organized in different ways. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's not just about having the music though, it's about having the right music. But now, as a DJ over 30 years, I've amassed quite a collection, I will say.
Absolutely.
And so,
that's the word I was looking for.
And that is the important piece. And let me speak to the DJs for just a second.
Yeah.
Your information is what helps you build your brand.
Right.
What you have, because we, just like authors have books, DJs have music.
Yes.
So just like doctors have tools, DJs have music. So when you have the music, how much music do you have? Because there's going to be so many people that you come across that you're going to have some songs that you play all the time, and then you're going to have a whole lot of songs that you barely play at all.
Yes.
But you have to have it. It's just like you don't go in to take a test without a pencil.
Okay.
So you have to have the tools necessary when you do business. So as DJs, you amass your collection of music, but you can't limit yourself. And that's the thing. People will say, I'm a DJ, but I only play urban music.
Oh,
I'm a DJ, but I only play country music. But you can't just be a DJ, because if you limit yourself, your business will be limited. So you cannot limit yourself based on a genre of music. You have to amass a collection of all sorts.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's why I love the Americans. These guys, they're amazing. I mean, in many ways. Of course, these guys, as you can see, they are brushing because, I praise them. But I think what you say, Dr. Michael, is so profound, because I think we all have to appreciate, whether it's a business, whether it's an agri-business, whatever it is, you got to really know your product and then accumulate that resource, that capital. So for the DJ, the capital is the music.
Yes,
you got to have it. And I like the way you're saying it's like a pencil. You don't go to an exam without a pencil. Right. So you accumulate, collection. They call it collections, and you have to have all these collection. Maybe you could speak into that in terms of T-shirts and all that. And what sort of capital do you require? In terms of what do you have? What do you need to have to get started?
So this is not, it's like a trick question, but it's not a trick question.
Yes.
So people think, a lot of people, and it's not just one's culture or something, this is across all countries. People think you need all this money.
Right.
To start.
Okay.
When all you need is you. Remember, the brand is you.
Yes.
You need you to start. Matter of fact, you heard DJ Mike say it. He knows music to the soul, and it's for healing because he was his first patient.
All right.
You need you. Like when I started T-shirt, guess what? I was my first model.
Okay.
I put my shirt on my back.
Yes.
And walked down the street. Where you get that from? I made it. I am the first person to model my shirt. It takes you.
Yes.
It's no different than when you think about, because I heard you say Amazon earlier.
Yes.
I heard you say, we talked about Apple.
Yes.
We could talk about different companies throughout America. Harley Davidson motorcycle. Guess what happened?
Yes.
It started with them. Where? In their garage. Most time their parents' garage. And
Absolutely.
last time I checked, we're not giving our parents any money on the bills.
Yes.
So it starts with you. It starts with your goal, your vision, with you. That's why I have that shirt called Solopreneur.
Right.
Because entrepreneurship starts with you. It doesn't take a lot of money. It takes you, your idea, whatever you have. And then that will lead into another segment, but it starts with you, and that's the whole part of it. You don't have to have all these millions, hundreds of thousands of dollars, because think about it. The individuals that we know that are millionaires, billionaires now, they didn't start with that.
Absolutely.
They started with nothing.
Absolutely. I was going to come to that. That question you're thinking you aren't going to answer. You're going to have to answer it. Yeah, because the question is, what else is needed to become successful? So we could say that, it starts with you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You got your own fast brand, and it has to come with you. So it's not so much the capital, the cash, but it's you, and then really being comfortable with you as the fasting. You got to be sold to your own product.
Yes,
absolutely. You got to be sold to your own music.
Yes,
you got to be sold to your own T-shirt brand, and you must like it.
Yes,
and then Then, so the next question is, what else is required? So, and here I want you guys just to think outside the box, just shoot, throw in. So you can start, you can throw in and interject each other.
So it's funny you asked that question because me and Mike met on this same type of journey. And remember, he said he started as a kid. My closing just started because of what I wish I had as a kid.
Yes.
And so it led us down a different path, which helped us connect.
Yes.
Because we realized that it's so many people out there that don't necessarily not have the knowledge, but they don't know that they don't know what they don't know.
All right.
And I call those the 3 no's of not understanding what your purpose is.
Yes.
And that's part of the main thing. It's not you starting and believing in yourself only. It's changing your mental mind state.
Yes.
And so in order for that to happen, I was like, I just can't sit here and just tell people to keep buying my shirts. That's where the other business started up.
Right.
I didn't know it was starting until somebody told me it was starting, and I was like, yeah, I might need to make this a business. Because remember, I told you, multiple streams of income. And that's where my business started with the committed development, because I wanted to be committed to people's development, because commitment is the foundation of your success, and it all starts in the mind. We have to rewire the way we were thinking and the things that we've been through. But that's just my take on it. That's when I met Mike, Dr. Freeland, and he takes it somewhere else. With his mental real estate.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Commitment. Yes.
And also, and there's power. Let me say this for everybody. There's power in the investment.
Yes.
See, so many people want businesses, but they want other people to pour into their business. And there's nothing wrong with the shirt sales, because this was created and this was generated. This is so this generates and supports itself. Now, I'm going to take a second, because I'm going to stay for a second with the DJs, because I need them to get this.
Yes.
When you're a DJ and you're trying to build your brand, or you're trying to move forward in what you want, there's power in the investment. And when I said that, I said it for this reason. How many times have you been to a place where there has been a DJ, but the equipment was subpar? How many times have you watched people plug in, but they couldn't hear anything?
Right.
So what I'm saying is this: as a DJ, you have to invest as you build yourself, because I said it before, the people will, if they believe in you, they will invest in you. And if they invest in you, guess what you forgot to do sometimes? Invest in yourself.
Right.
In business, the investment is the builder of DJs. And as the builder of DJs, when you get that money, because a lot of us know that as DJs, people will pay you for what your services are, because it is a level of service we provide.
Yes.
But when you are providing a level of service, you owe it to the people to invest back into your business. So that means what? We have better equipment. Not just your equipment, to make sure that everything that you have is sound equipment, so that you can meet the needs of the people. Music is not just enough to say that you're a good DJ. What do you sound like? So if you show up to the stage with the equipment that doesn't what? Sound right, nobody wants to hear something that is going to make them cringe, or wish that you just turn that off. Doesn't matter how good you are, if it don't sound good, they don't want to what? Hear you. They don't want to hear you.
Absolutely. Wonderful. So so there is that kind of level of investment that is required.
Yes,
and investing and reinvesting.
Absolutely.
Because you want to be good and sound right to your audience. So it's kind of like when they pay you, then you invest back in your audience, and they are going to pay you more. Then you invest back in them, and they're going to pay you more.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes. Amazing. So I'm sure you have something else to add to what else does it take? So we've said commitment is very important. Investment is important, reinvestment, and paying attention to that. What else is required?
So I kind of said the part about you don't know that you don't know what you don't know.
Yes.
And one of the biggest things with entrepreneurship is getting out of that thought process of, I don't know how to do it, so I'm not going to do it.
Yes.
Because that leads to things not getting done. That means you're sitting on those ideas. They might be the next innovative idea. And one thing that I refer to it as is we need to bankrupt the cemetery. So the cemetery is full of all these ideas, innovative books, like things that did not happen because somebody didn't do it or take that next step because they say they did not know what they do. So what I try to tell people is stop saying what you don't know what to do and start doing what you do know. For example, I don't know how to get finances to go or loan to start my business. I do know that the bank gives out loans. So
Yes.
maybe I need to go to the bank. I don't know how to market my information. Ooh, I just thought about it. I know a friend that went to school and their degree was in marketing. I'm going to go talk to them. Stop saying what you don't know and just start doing the things that you do know. And that's where you start to meet people. Use the resources that you have at your available to you. Start your networking, because one of the biggest things with businesses and entrepreneurship is understanding that your network is your net worth.
Absolutely.
The more people in your network is how you grow that thing.
Absolutely.
But he's chopping at the bits because he knows where we're going with this. So it all comes back down to the mental.
Okay.
And so some things I gotta even learn with that network. It was through me meeting people like Mike, who understands that mental, where he tries to help people with mental real estate.
Absolutely.
And so I was able to turn to him for certain things that I didn't understand when it came to entrepreneurship. And now he's teaching me certain things because he understands the mental real estate.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think I mentioned in your introduction that you talk about the mentor of real estate.
Yes.
So, and maybe you can expound on that and tell us what that solid is all about.
Mental real estate, and it's funny because I like to equate this. A lot of times when you said that, I already know some of our viewers said real estate. They're thinking about their house. They're thinking about their property. Now let's put this in understandable terms. When we're talking about mental real estate, a lot of us own homes or we rent homes. But one thing you know about your home is that you have what? You have your property. So within your property, you have lot pins. So you know that there's only so much of this land that you can attain. So just like we're looking at this square of carpet that we're on, we know that there's corners. So there's only so far you can go before the rug ends. There's only so far you go before your property ends. But in your property, we have so many things. We have a car, we have a home, we have our garage, driveways, grass, and we take care of our property.
Yes.
So when we talk about taking care of our property, we're talking also about mentally. How do we take care of our minds? Because your mental real estate is your estate of your mind. And so in your estate of your mind, you only own so much of your mental real estate. And every single one of us has it. So when we have our own mental real estate, now what do we put in our mental real estate? I said it before, we have nice cars, we have a nice home. But let me ask you a question. If I come over to your home, inside of your property, into your mental real estate, and I say, listen, now we're going to go realistically. If I come to your house and I bring 5 bags of trash, because I don't want them on my property. Yes. But do you mind if I put my bags of trash on your property just because I don't want them over here? Do you mind? Can I drop this off over here? What are you going to say? Absolutely not.
Yes.
So because I don't want your trash in my area. So here it is. When we're talking mental real estate, why do we allow other people to make deposits into our mindset that stop us from being productive? Because when I talked about the trash that I was going to drop off in your home, we're talking about depression, abuse. We're talking about societal issues. We're talking about, things that have stopped us from progressing in life. And if it stops you from progressing in your life, in mental real estate, when I call this the trash, because I'm saying it not because it doesn't matter, I'm saying it because it stalls us.
Absolutely, and it's something that we need to deal with.
Yes, we have to.
Yeah. So, and you have to identify it.
Right.
Of course, trash is easy. You know, when it's physical. So
right.
You can see cans, plastic bags, and all that.
Yes.
So but the mental trash cans and the plastics are different.
Yes.
So we need to think about the minute you say that. Now I can begin to see the kind of things that will make for trash in the mind,
right?
And that you're saying you got to look at that after that real estate that is your mind,
right?
And don't allow anyone to dump anything in there that is trash,
right?
And then whatever is in there, you also go to scan it. Is this really needed here?
Right.
No.
And, and I said it even that there are positive and negative contributors,
of course,
to your mental real estate.
Yes.
And so just like that child who was raised before and was told what they could not do.
Yes.
Because a lot of times parents will live out their dreams through their children because they didn't achieve it. They want their kids to be basketball players because they can never be one.
Yes.
But what is it about that child that we didn't see. See, it's not what we do see, it's what we didn't see that helps develop the mind and the mental real estate. Because if we feed it to our kids long enough that, hey, you're going to be a basketball player, you're going to be a football player, they're going to go after that. But what we didn't realize that we may have dampened the dreams that they have already had that we never realized. Because there's always something that we don't see about them. But how do we build others to become the better version of themselves? By allowing them to freely operate within the ideas that God has given them, because we have all been given ideas, but you have to realize those ideas so that you can do more. But mental real estate builds the perspective so they can understand more about themselves.
Absolutely, absolutely. I can see Bill, you're itching to say something. Yeah. You just throw in something there. Maybe you could comment a little bit on the role of mentors. I think it's linked to what he's talking about. People that enablers and stuff like that. You actually did mention. Would we call them mentors? Would we call them partners? And what's the role of other people within for the success of your own business?
So you got to think when it comes to mentors, partners, anything. It could be a celebrity. It could be somebody just in your family, like as Mike was saying about like mother, father, family members. It all plays a role. Because you just said something about like the trash, the mental trash, the trash cans and stuff that people dump onto you. I remember my grandmother used to always be like, we can't watch certain movies or certain TV shows because I don't want that junk in your head. Or like when you think about kids, you don't let them look at certain things, or you limit the amount of time that they have on devices, but they can read books and they can learn how to count and write their numbers because you're trying to put that positivity in their mind. And that's through their vision. It's no different than when you go to the hospital or go to a doctor and you're like, oh, doc, I got a headache, my head keeps hurting. And what happens with your headache? It blurs the first thing it does is it blurs your vision. Your eyes get red. It's hard to open your eyes. The light's too bright. And the doctor does what? He checks your vision. First thing he looks at. So it's all connected from your mind to your vision. So when your vision is impaired and been fed with negativity, and you wonder why you can't get past the negative thoughts in your head to help you level up and get to the next level in your life and live in the purpose that God has for you, it's because of the negative things that you let into your head. But at the same time, DJ Mike here, we're going to switch over to DJ Mike. He sit here and he said, you go to the doctor, and what do you tell the doctor? You're like, doctor, I'm dizzy. I'm always out of balance. Like, I don't know what's going on. But what most people don't notice, the first thing the doctor does is he turns and then he takes the light from your eyes and he puts it to your ear. Because what most people don't realize is when you have an ear infection, or you see babies when they're wobbling, falling down, the doctor checks their ear. When you have an ear infection, something's wrong with your ear. Right. Your life is out of balance. So the stuff that goes into your mind from what DJ Mike puts into your mind from listening, those same negative people that are saying you're going to be a basketball player, or you can't do this, or you shouldn't do that are messing with your thoughts and your vision, and your life is out of balance because you're listening to the wrong people. You're listening to the wrong people. You're watching the wrong things. Instead, you should be learning to put those positive things, whether it be mentors. There's a thing that says if you are in a circle of 5 millionaires and you become the 6th, guess what? You will eventually become the 6th millionaire. Absolutely. So you got to watch the people that you put in your circle, because they're not just going to show you the wrong thing, but they're going to also put the wrong thing in your ear. So when it comes to mentors, friends, celebrities, the people that you watch, you have to make sure that there are positive things going into your ear and positive things that you're seeing with your vision. Absolutely.
Yes. Absolutely. Very, very amazing. So now we come into the end of this. I mean, I can't believe that we are running out of time. We have less than 5 minutes. So we would like to just comment on the idea of self-branding. And I think it's kind of part of what we've been talking about, developing yourself, what goes into your ears and all that. When we talk about branding, is that just having a nice card? And do you also need a card? Maybe you need, stuff like that. So you could speak very briefly on the branding, self-branding, and that applies a lot to you as a DJ.
Yes, and as a DJ, I know, and you've heard me say this several times on the show, that that I'm not just a DJ, but the fact is, my slogan, I said it's not about the music, it's about the experience. I created that.
Yes.
And see, when you talk about branding yourself, You have to give yourself something that speaks to your character, who you are, what you support, what you're trying to build. So people will come to me based on that narrative alone, because that's a way they can identify me.
Okay.
So you have to give yourself something that is identifiable, and it's something that you can sustain, because a lot of times people will try to, I hear kids say it all the time, they wish they could change their name, but they didn't have that choice, they didn't have that option. But you can't, in business, you want to give yourself something that is sustainable, because if you jump the fence and because you don't like something, or you want to change your name, or I'm going to call myself this, or I'm going to call myself that, you have to be steady, as they say, steady, fast, and unmovable.
All right.
Because if you're unmovable in business and you can sustain what you create, then you know that no matter what happens in life, that you sustain this level of how you want people to identify you. A card is good, but let me help you with something else. Repeat customers are better.
Absolutely.
Repeat customers are better, because when you talk about not just doing business with people, because people can buy from you all day, walk away, never see you again. But if your brand is good, you want to build, but how do you build a repeat customer? Through the relationship. Because people, like you said, people will buy you. You have a product, but they can get that product anywhere.
Absolutely.
But if they can get something from you that matters, and they can, you give them something to remember, and they will come back.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I know I'm cutting you short because
That's okay.
we're running out of time, but you said three very important things. I think one thing you've said is that, your brand has to be identifiable.
Yes.
It's got to be sustainable.
Yes.
And then you got to, have the relationships,
Yes.
people, you got to connect with people.
Yes.
And so that then that
Networking.
becomes the network, so
Yes,
that becomes sustainable. So, Billy, could you speak into that as well? So, from your side of things, the self-branding and all that.
So with the
Very short time.
I'll give it to you real short. I told you committed development, that company, the foundation to success is you. You have to be committed to it. So that's you. And the clothing brand, Solo One, that motto is, before anyone else, there was you.
Yes.
No matter how you look at it, before anything else gets started, there was you. You are the brand. You have to sell yourself. But in order to sell yourself, you must know who you are.
Right. Okay. And then, of course, do you have business cards? What are the other tools of self-branding that you could apply very quickly?
The biggest thing for self-branding right now today is social media.
Social media.
Social media. Everybody has it. It might go down. It can do whatever. But the first branding, if you're starting out, is to get your social media presence known, because the fastest way to get around the world is through social media. They're going to find you there first.
Absolutely.
And keep your cards.
Keep your
because
cards.
Your cards are important for in person.
All right.
Social media is worldwide.
Okay, so social media and then your business cards.
Yes.
Absolutely. Wow. I can't believe that we've run out of time, and I've got to stop this gentleman, and this is just amazing. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in and listening to us here talking about entrepreneurship. I know we've talked many things, and you might need to rewind this and just watch it again, especially those of you that are in business and are developing your skills, and so that you can learn what we've said and enjoy it and make it part of your life. So thank you all very, very, very much. Thank you, Billy Graham Jr. for being on this show. I really appreciate your presence here. And thank you very much, Dr. Michael Freeland, for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And also being in this country. I really wish you God's blessing, and thank you all very, very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of this show. Thank you so much for staying tuned in. We'll see you again another day. I've been your host, Godfrey Gishoke, and this is the GG Report. God bless you. Good night, and see you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.